going, everybody? This is Martin Stokes here.
And this is Dean Scurry.
And I am a traveller.
And I'm a countryman.
Welcome to A Traveller
And a Countryman podcast.
Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum.
Ba-da-da-dum.
Looking from a window above, like a story of love. Can you hear me? All I needed was another day. All I needed was the love you gave. All I ever knew. Only you. Ba-dum.
Ba-dum.
Ba-da-da-dum.
Ba-da-da-dum. Let me see, can I do it on my own?
Leave it out, son.
Ba-dum. Ba-dum. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da-dum.
Dean, it takes 5 fellas to do that, not one. Get that medley going.
The medley. Who's that singing that?
I don't know. I know their names. I just can't think of their names.
It's not Roy Said Fred or anything like that, is it?
No. Beyond, it's old. They're old.
Like Top of the Pops. Remember Top of the Pops was
Them guys would be in like 60s singers, like.
Oh,
60s,
Martin.
70s. Sorry, no, they'd be about
Maybe
80s. To be
Maybe
80s.
80s
They'd
now.
be 80s.
Some of them would be doing push-ups in the blade in the graveyard.
Anyway, can we start, Dean? Yeah.
We're started already, Martin.
No, we're getting rid of that.
No, we're not getting rid of that.
Yeah, getting rid of that.
For weeks, I'm asking you to sing, and
Yeah,
I just
but I
caught
didn't
you off guard there.
I didn't
you
sing. I was just
You
slagging.
went bottom,
Yeah, but you weren't supposed to be recording that.
bottom.
Yeah.
Were you embarrassed when Jeff was singing because
I
you
was
didn't have
only
the balls
slagging.
to do it?
Who, Jeff?
Yeah,
He's good, isn't he?
he's not bad.
No, I like Jeff, seriously. He's a good lad.
But when he was singing, what do you think of him?
A good singer, yeah. But probably a better actor than singing. Don't tell him that.
This is we're recording.
No, we're not.
No,
We're
this
getting
will
rid
go
of it.
out.
We're getting rid of
Don't
this.
be embarrassed, Martin. Let go of.
Dean, I just said Jeff is a good singer,
Let go
didn't
of
I?
the embarrassment.
Jeff is a brilliant singer. Okay, and he's a good actor.
Yeah,
He's
you're a good lawyer.
He's good at everything he does.
Let's do it. Let's get in.
Today is 15th, yeah?
Episode 15, the Traveller and a Countryman podcast.
Yes. Right now, I don't know a big lot to talk about.
Right.
If you get one of these days when you're just, you're feeling sort of lazy kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Lazy-minded, as a fella might say.
But you gave me a big list of stuff to
I
talk
know, I'll
about.
tell you what happened. As we were coming in here, I was doing a little prayer at the church there, yeah, beside us, yeah?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what we're going to talk about this evening, basically. So, when you said to me, what story was that? What do you think that's? It's a big chair, it's a big seat.
There's a big seat outside, yeah.
Yeah. And you said, what was written on it? Pride.
Pride is written on it. And there's a big rainbow.
So I didn't really want to listen to you, like, did I?
No.
So when I was finished my prayer, I just said, now, so we found something to talk about.
Ah.
We can talk about pride.
Very good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I'll talk about anything. We've decided this week not to have a guest. We had a few guests that we reached out to and they said, yeah, they'll do it. But we've had 4 guests.
We did, but they actually sacked us.
They got rid of us. It was Shawnee Yama, which was great.
Yeah.
Or a mate of mine got on to me. She's a lovely girl. And she said the one with Yama she felt was really,
Yeah.
just really good, really heartfelt. She enjoyed it.
Very good. So how come I don't hear about all this feedback, Dean? Tell me.
You don't need it, Martin. You know
Well,
Yama's amazing.
if
She
you want
knows
to-
she's
if you-
amazing.
If you want to be encouraged by something and you get good feedback, sure, it gives you more encouragement, doesn't it?
Yeah, more pride.
No, not pride. Pride is very selfish thing.
Ah, so what's pride?
Well, pride is there's different types of pride. Probably like people could describe pride in a different ways, probably 100 different ways.
1,000 different ways. What's it for you? And
pride-
Stop trying to think about what every single person thinks about.
No, I'm not
different
thinking.
words.
I can't think because I'm not inside their minds.
I know, but what do you think it is? What is pride for you?
Well, there's different types of pride. I just said that. I think pride can be like sinful, resentful. Can be a lot of wrongdoing in pride. If you want to say pride, like taking pride in something that you do good, as long as it benefits everybody, not just yourself.
So that's good pride. And
like
then you said there's sinful pride.
It's like,
what's
like
the
a guy
difference?
running a marathon and saying, I'm delighted, I'm proud of myself. I ran that marathon and I sort of won it as well.
Yeah, but then you have that one, pride before a fall, or cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, that's that would like be. I think there'd be anger and bitterness involved in that, would there? I'd imagine so. Anyway,
Give us an example of that.
there's probably lots of examples, but I'm going to try to give you one example. It's like me and you having a falling out, yeah. And of course, I'm at this stage now. I'm bitter against you, yeah. And I'll do more or less anything to get back at you. That kind of stuff.
Like revenge.
Like you just said, you're cutting off your
nose to spite your face.
your face. But you know it's wrong. What you're going about to do is wrong.
It might bring kind of harm to you and to the other person.
Yes.
But you're going to do it. You're going to drive the nail all the way anyway.
Because pride won't let you. Pride won't allow you not to do this. In other words, like you said about a fall, yeah.
Yeah.
You could be letting yourself down in your own imagination. By, for instance, you done something wrong to me. We had a falling out, and I'm thinking, "Here, look, I'm not letting them off with this." So it's pride that motivates that. Now that's where your sinful and wrongful pride comes in. So
the fella running the race and going, "I'm proud of myself," that's a different thing.
It is. It's a happy pride.
Yeah,
it is. It has to be, or something. It can be anything. It can be a graduation, maybe somebody's graduation, and they're proud of themselves. So to take pride in the work that they've done.
Got a new job.
There's a million types of that.
Had a new baby.
Whatever it might be, and it's something to be. It's something to be proud of in a happy way. If you know what I mean.
So where did we get lost then with the other one? But this
is where we are. We're it's all tangling up here. Yeah.
With the sinful pride.
No, the sinful pride could be you're doing something wrong. Yeah, so you're doing it through pride, through a selfishness.
Yeah,
so let's call it a selfish pride.
Yeah, it's selfish
if you want.
I think that type of pride is driven by fear.
Well, it can be driven by fear, anger, stupidity,
insecurity.
There's probably a lot of reasons that can drive a pride in a wrongful direction.
So a few questions are coming, and I know you're on a flow there, right? But one, why do you want to talk about pride? And two, do you have any examples in your life?
Because when I came in here first, I couldn't think of anything.
You couldn't think about it, so that came to it.
So when I seen that piece of art out there on the what do you call it?
It inspired you.
Yeah, and I asked her, "What's the?" You said to me, you asked me, what do I think of that?
Yeah.
So I said, "What?" But it was nice. But anyway,
the pride
when I finished my little prayer,
toils.
then what happened to me was it instantly came to my head. I'm going to talk about pride.
So give me an example of sinful pride from your life. Or can you? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Straight up. Yeah. You are putting me on the spot, but I'm going to be honest about it. I try not to let pride take over me in an angry way or a sinful way.
I know you try it, but have you ever?
No, I don't think I've ever given into stuff like that.
Where you said, "See this fella here, I'll get him
for that." No, I don't really live my life by that because I don't think it's like here. My conscience tells me it's a wrong way. It's a wrong way to live. It's a wrong way to do things. So now I'm not allowing pride to interfere with me. If you know what I'm saying, to control me. In other words, and say like.
So you're not letting your anger or your jealousy or your insecurity, be the thing that drives your decisions.
Yeah,
or your actions.
I don't. I take. How would you say it? I might take pride in something that I do good. And it's not every day I do good, but I wouldn't take pride in something now. If I made a mistake and done something wrong, I'd sort of beat myself up for it. That's being honest.
Can you put your hand up and say, "I done something wrong there"? You find that hard?
No, I'll tell you what it is. No, it is hard. It's probably hard for anybody to do this because, again, pride is biting at you, if you want to put it that way, right? So it's trying to get the better of you. So you're literally like you're kind of fighting with that now because you don't want to be like that. You're pushing that away. So therefore, if you can put your hand up and say, "Yes, I did do something wrong. I apologize." If you have that opportunity of apologizing to somebody, because not every time you get a chance. If you do something wrong to somebody, yeah, and you want to say, "I'm sorry about that," you don't always get that chance. So you have to sort of deal with it yourself. And basically let yourself know, convince yourself that you are sorry. You know what I mean? My way of doing that, like say, if I did if I did come across to somebody and maybe not by actions basically, but by words. If I like offended somebody with words now and I didn't get the chance to like say sorry or apologize to them in some way.
Yeah, or resolve it with them in some way.
My way of dealing with that would be like praying for that person. I would pray for that person that they wouldn't have a resentment or anger towards me for that maybe silly or stupid instance, like, you know.
Yeah.
Probably silly things anyway. I would never get into anything big, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, saying sorry, you're let's say you're kicking pride out of your way. It is a powerful word, a strong word. And again, it can actually cause you to do wrong in your life, or maybe to others, and probably at times maybe not even realizing it.
What can?
Pride itself.
Pride, yeah.
It can be, as you said earlier on, it can be selfish, it can be resentment, it can be anger, it can be like one of them great boxers was your man, what do you call him? Oh, I can't think of his name, but he was back like say years and years ago, and he was a world champion, but he wasn't very friendly. I'll think of his name later on. I can't think of his name right now, but he was a famous boxer back then.
Not Mike Tyson, no?
No, it was back.
He wasn't always the most friendliest guy.
I only read the story of this.
Okay.
It was back like in the, say, probably 70s against 60s or 70s. I think it was the Raging Bull. I think that's his name was, the Raging Bull. And he was, I'm sure that was his name anyway. And he was always angry and always, again, full of pride and bitterness and all that sort of stuff. And he reckoned in later years, now he won like some good world titles. And in later years, he was, let's say he was hard on his wife and he was hard on his friends.
Hard on himself?
As he called his friends. People that wanted to be his friends.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was being hard on himself, naturally. Obviously, the biggest victim in this was himself.
So that's a phrase that I hear, pride will kill you.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. Watch. He, in the later years, when he sort of copped onto himself, if you like.
Matured a bit, had to think about the stuff he was doing.
He let all that go then, didn't he?
Right.
And he done an interview with some TV channel, yeah. And they asked him, "What was your biggest downfall in your life?" Like, it was a big question, but it was a simple question.
Yeah.
That came to mind on the behalf of the interviewer. Yeah. He said the biggest downfall in my life, he said, was stubbornness. He said, and he said pride caused that. He said, basically, pride caused his stubbornness.
So they made the film The Raging Bull.
No, I think I'm about 99% sure it was The Raging Bull, right?
Yeah.
But I'll check it out again. Yeah.
No, but they made a film about his life. I forget his name, but they made a film called The Raging Bull with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
Right. I'm saying again.
Have you seen that film?
This is what I'm getting at. I'm telling you that I'm not sure was that the film.
I
have to check that one out, right?
Very good. If it was based on a true person.
It was based on the boxer anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. He said, my biggest downfall in life was stubbornness, basically what I said there. And pride caused him to be stubborn. He was stubborn with everybody. But it took him years and years and years to realise what the real problem was in his life. Because he had everything else. He had his wife, he had family, he had friends, he had lots of money, he had world title fights.
Where do you think the stubbornness comes from?
From inside.
Yeah, but what causes it? You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of stuff
I just
inside.
said pride can cause stubbornness.
Okay, so, well then, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What causes the pride? What causes the stubbornness? Where does it come from?
I think it comes from selfishness. It's thinking too much of ourselves. We think we're it, and that's it. That's all about it.
We think we're the centre of the universe.
We think like we're
gods.
Let's say we're the king of everything if you want.
The heavyweight world champion of the world.
Yeah, but don't forget, you don't have to be a world champion of the world to have selfish pride in your life.
Or stubbornness.
You can be just any ordinary person.
Stubbornness.
And the same thing can happen.
Stubbornness is an interesting one. What's stubbornness?
It's because it could be because a person could be blind to a lot of good things that goes on around them, if you know what I mean. And maybe they don't feel the goodness of what goes on in life. That's a hard one to explain, I know that. But it is that possibility.
No, it's not hard to explain. I just think I'm really
For me, it
interested
is.
in this in terms of like, because we think this stuff is so basic we shouldn't talk about it, but this is the stuff that determines our relationships with ourselves, our family, our friends, our work colleagues, all that type of stuff.
Well, it's probably the chances are stuff like this is a part of everyday life. Now, it mightn't be in every household, but it can be in a lot.
But it is in every household at some point.
And it doesn't make a difference whether if they're rich, poor, big or small, or what background they come from. It's a wandering thing, basically, if you like.
Oh, well, that's a nice phrase. What does that mean? It's a wondering thing.
What I mean is a wandering thing. It could happen to you. You could be going around there like a selfish. I could use the word bitch. I don't want to call you bitch. Excuse me.
I'm not your bitch. Relax.
No, I'm just right. I don't want to use the phrase right. For instance, you could be going around there as stubborn as could be,
Yeah.
as ignorant as could be. Yeah, maybe thinking that you're all better than everybody else all the time, or like you know it all. Like, you know what I'm saying, I just sometimes do be like that. You know what I mean?
I resemble that remark again.
I'm here to correct. But these are the kind of things, and as I said to you, when your mum was doing that interview by the television crew, yeah, that was one question they asked him: what was your biggest downfall in life? The chances are they were asking him about a fight, or maybe he lost out on money, or maybe marriage breakups and stuff like that. So I don't think this question was relevant to pride or to stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? I'm sure in the fighting game they have to be stubborn, like, you know, if they want to win a fight. So they got the answer that they weren't really expecting.
Yeah, they just thought it was just going to be some kind of
just conversation,
a
basically.
little conversation where he was going, actually, seriously,
Yeah,
the thing that
deep
got in
from
my
his
way
heart.
for my whole life was my stubbornness,
And pride.
my greed, my pride, my ignorance, and me not realising, this is the point I was going to make a second ago,
Oh, yeah.
that everything that I really, really wanted is actually right in front of me.
Yes,
It's,
but he'd be blind.
it's here,
He couldn't
but I
see
was
it.
blind to it because I thought what I wanted was this other thing, this glory, this fame, this money, the wealth, the trappings of success. I thought that's what it was. But actually, all I really wanted was to be able to sit down with my brother and tell him I loved him. Or have a
Yes.
conversation with my wife without shouting at her.
Yeah, that sort of
or
stuff.
be intimate with me children and give them a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But sometimes the lesson of life is you have to go through all of the pride and the stubbornness in order to realise what's right in front of you.
Yeah, well, I think what might have happened there was that chances are he built walls in front of him, built barriers in front
He was a
of him.
bleeding boxer, so he was fighting something as
Yeah,
well.
but the fact that he was a boxer, it could have actually made him angrier than what he might have ever been. I'm not saying all boxers are angry. There's some nice lads, nice people there. Like.
Yeah, but generally, let's say boxers. Boxers are generally working class men who are trying to provide for their family. Yeah? They're trying to get out and earn money from boxing.
Yeah, but they might get lost in something else.
Yeah, they might get lost in the fact that they're still in poverty or working classness. They've still got all the bills. They still have a family that's dependent on them, and maybe they're not winning the fights and bringing in the bread, and you can get bitter and angry. And
they're bringing this home then.
Yeah.
So they're not bringing love home, they're not bringing money home, they're not bringing food home.
But the only skill they have is to be able to put on a pair of gloves and thump the head off.
They're bringing home bitterness. And of course, the bitterness then is resentful, as you know. So I'm guessing that it all, like if you were to draw a circle on a bit of paper there, I'm guessing the bitterness, the anger, the pride, the selfishness, probably the stupidity is probably the biggest one of all because they're allowing this to happen to themselves. And then it's reflecting on the people around them then. So they're not just doing harm to themselves. They're actually hurting people around them. But yet again, maybe without realising it. Now, so the people that's outside the circle are looking at them. Look at this guy is not good because he's too proud. He's too proud of this, he's too proud of that. It might not be the pride, it might be the stubbornness and the stupidity that has it locked inside him.
Yeah.
If it makes any sense.
And so you threw a load of words at me before we start recording. Pride, greed, selfishness, bitterness, guilt.
Yeah, but you asked a couple of the questions in between all of that.
Yeah, but there could be. What I'm saying is that all of those start to tangle up.
I think it comes from the one. It's like a roll of what do you call it, knit and thread or something, or whatever.
Yeah,
you
like a
call
ball
it.
of wool.
Yeah, and it's roll, and it's everything's getting tangled up at the one time. So you have 5 or 6 things here, all in one. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As I said, things are hard to explain sometimes. And trying
that's
my best.
a great way of explaining it. What I'm interested now is, and what I'm thinking about is now, because we all have those moments in our life where life isn't living up to our expectation.
Well, it's not plain sailing, but basically,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The wind might be in our face rather than at our back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm trying to just tease out what are the things that help that tight ball of wool and all these heavy thoughts and emotions.
Free it out.
Free it out.
Yeah. I think maybe just having a little chat with yourself. Sitting back and thinking, where's all this stupidity come from? There's
a stubbornness. And
why is it like this? Why are things like this? Or this shouldn't be like that, or that shouldn't be like whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a bit of a luxury for some people to be able to even have the time to think like that. Because sometimes we can get so busied in all of that stuff that even being able to take a breath is hard. Never mind being able to sit down and have a chat with yourself.
Yeah, but supposing that you have to do this. Like, suppose a person has to sit down and just think like, there's some, like, for instance, I said something wrong earlier on, or done something wrong earlier on. I made a decision I shouldn't have made, or this thing shouldn't have been like that. It could be anything. There's billions of things that go on in people's lives. Yeah. So we can't just point a finger and say one specific thing here. We have to try and gather let's say the basics in our everyday life kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like our basic movements, our basic words, our basic actions, all of that. And if there's a problem like within all of that, that's when I think we have to sit back, have a chat with ourselves. Because don't forget, a person, we could be doing something stupid here and not realising we're doing it. And a person could be saying to us, look, why are you doing this or why are you doing that? That doesn't make no sense. But at the same time, you could be blinded to it all. You mightn't see or understand that there is no sense in
You're
this.
You're blinded. You've a red
and
mist.
You're liable to do the same thing a half an hour, maybe next day afterward again.
Yeah.
It's like talking to a child. Sometimes like talking to a child.
Absolutely.
A child
or
does
an
something
angry
wrong.
dog or a bleeding bull in a china shop.
Say a child, and you see a child there doing something wrong, and you try to not discipline them discipline in a way, but like at least talk to them, like, you know, and sort of let them know, look, you can't do that. That's wrong. And that child will probably do the same thing an hour after again. Take a bigger picture of that and put it into, say, an adult's head. And don't get me wrong, there's intelligent people out there, there's rich people out there, there's big people with very good and fancy jobs, and yet they can have the same problem. They mightn't talk about it, they mightn't say anything about it, they mightn't show it in public. It doesn't mean they don't have these kind of problems.
There's a few interesting things you're saying
pride,
there.
Again, selfishness, stupidity. I'm not sure. I'm not a specialist in this. I'm not trying to be either. I'm just having a chat and enjoying the chat. But I think it might first of all come from stupidity, because if we're using all these things and we come to our senses, I'd imagine the word we're going to use is, look, that was stupid. So which means stupidity was surrounding the whole thing.
Yeah.
If that's the case, like,
yeah, it's one way of looking at it. So I'm going to just use the Rocky Marciano example, right?
Yeah,
that was the boxer, as far as I'm aware, right? And one of the things where the pride tripped him up was he was afraid to be honest in public. He could be honest with himself in the bedroom, crying his eyes out. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? But when it came to being out in public and telling other people, his pride got in the way, and he was like, I can't allow these people out here who adore me to think that I'm a weak man.
he was afraid to fall, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. He was afraid to be vulnerable.
Sometimes that fall can make you a better person, a stronger person.
So that's the other part. You're
picking yourself up to it.
That's the other part of the thing. So he was afraid to be vulnerable. So it's recovery month here in Ballymun for September, right? And it's like recovery in addiction, recovery in drugs.
Yeah.
And one of the places that you get to that's really interested in recovery is a place called Rock Bottom.
Right.
It's a really interesting place because usually what happens is in addiction, people are kind of like free falling, and they haven't hit anything solid. And sometimes something solid is the thing that wakes you up or that gives you the kick.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And then they can hit rock solid, and rock solid is hard. It's like Rocky Marciano. Rock solid was, my fucking brother hasn't talked to me in 20 years.
Yes.
My wife is gone. I'm 20 stone. I'm drinking every night. I'm off in nightclubs and all this. That was the story of the Raging Bull.
Right.
And
so basically,
and the rock bottom him was he was arrested and he was put in a prison cell and he was crying his eyes out. So my point is that sometimes you need that fall.
So when you hit rock bottom, you have no choice to get up and start moving again.
Well, you have a choice. The choice is stay there or get up. And a lot of people choose stay there, but the option is get up. And once you get up, you have to start facing all the things like guilt and shame and pride. And that's the hard bit. The emotions is the hard bit.
Is that not a different type of a pride then? If you're down and out, and you can't go any lower, and you're bringing yourself up, then, right?
Then you have that good.
Is
you can
that
be
not
proud
a
of
good
yourself.
pride? Is that not something to say? Look, I am proud of myself here, but I'm proud in a good way now. I'm proud in a happy way. Why? I lifted myself up, and now I'm on my feet again.
It is. It's something to celebrate. But getting from being on your arse to taking one step, that's a big journey.
Yeah.
That's a big, big journey in there. And I just think that's something that that's a ball of wool. That moment from being on your arse, rock bottom, to taking the first step is a ball of wool that we can untangle. And we can untangle it personally, or we can untangle it in our communities and within our families and our friends, or in your case, within prayer or within your church.
Yes. So if you, what would you, question is awkward here. How would you see a person that would, or would you even notice somebody that has pride in themselves, or in a selfish way, basically, or in a wrong or sinful way, like?
Yeah,
How would you describe somebody like that?
I would say that they are closed. Yeah, in a general kind of sense, that they're closed, that they think the way they see the world is the only way that it is.
Their way.
Yeah, they're not willing to listen. They're not willing to look at something from other people's perspectives or to be in another man's shoes, for example.
Yeah.
They're not willing to listen to people's real feelings, emotions, all that type of stuff. And they're just doing stuff that's destructive to other people. Destructive to themselves as well, but they think they don't see that. But being destructive to other people.
Would you say pride is something being thinking that you're too good for everybody else?
Yeah, well, that you're the centre of the universe.
Or that you wouldn't like, there's certain people I don't want to mix with, or I don't class myself, I class myself too good for this.
Yeah, that you're
or
superior.
Certain people you want to talk to, or certain things you want to do in life because you actually think like you have the suit and tie now here.
You have the suit, the tie,
you're looking
the
down,
yacht and the watch.
Yeah, well, yeah. And you're looking down on people in a sense where, look, you're, in other words, they're way below you. They're not worth mixing with or talking about or even mention their names. That kind of stuff. To me, that would be all selfish and sinful pride. It's thinking that you're everything when the reality of it is that you're actually not everything. You might have everything, doesn't mean you are everything. Doesn't mean you are it, like you are the person.
Yeah, and one of the reasons you have everything is because you think having everything will make you be something.
Yeah, but the thing about having everything is, I know this probably it could be maybe the right way to describe it. The thing about having everything, it's only they're what do you call it? Let's say earthly possessions.
They're only objects.
They're money. They're something that money can buy.
Yeah.
But what about that something inside that money can't buy?
Something
money
inside so strong, so
or
strong.
Or that money can't replace.
Know that I can help it.
Dean, I would like if you stick with the day job, please.
You're doing me wrong, so wrong. Yeah, money can't buy.
Leave the singing to the singers.
Money can't buy. What did the Beatles say?
Buy your love.
Money can't buy your love.
All you need is love, love, love. That was a good one.
All I need is love.
All you need is love.
Let it out, Martin. I'm so
Leave
happy.
it out.
I'm so happy that you're singing. I think one of the things that I like about you is that you sing, but then one of the things that I think is shame is that you don't sing enough on this podcast.
Dean, you have never heard me sing. You've heard me mumble. That's all. That's not singing. You're mad.
You're stuttering,
You're
mumbling
mad for an old
fool.
belter of a song there, Dean, aren't you?
I'd love one off you. I think it fills me heart, Martin. It fills me heart. It fills me full of pride. The good pride.
Yeah, good pride, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fills you with pride. There's a lot of... That word is used in a lot of songs, isn't it?
Well, like what one?
That word you just mentioned there now, pride.
Yeah, what songs?
Well, look, I can't... I'm not an internet machine or a laptop or anything like. I can't just flick
Your
there.
favourites, UB40. Have they written any pride
Through
songs?
the phone. They sang a lot of songs about pride on the other side, basically. Where how would you call it? It's hard to explain. Basically about the time back when there was, say, when the blacks were treated bad by the whites, basically. There's a word for that. They would have sang a lot of songs for that. Like they would have done one there for Nelson MacDonald.
Nelson
Mandela.
Yeah.
And they sang a song about we will fight for the right to be free, that kind of stuff. So there's pride in that song.
Did they sing that one or was that somebody else? That one,
No,
Free
UB40 sang
Nelson Mandela. That one?
No, I didn't hear them singing that one. No.
Did you ever hear that one?
They sang a good song about Nelson Mandela.
This is the best one. This was the one that actually
Have
got
you heard
freed.
the one I'm talking about?
No.
No, how do you know then the one you're talking about is the best one then?
Because the only one I heard was that one.
Yeah, but the one I heard is probably better. I heard two of them.
It didn't make it to the top of the pops.
You asked me who sings, I said they don't sing it.
So pride, greed. Oh, greed's a good one.
Greed, I don't like greed. Greed is a number one sin. Without a doubt. There's no doubt about that. See, greed is wanting everything. Not needing everything, wanting everything. Wanting maybe what everybody else has or wanting more than you'll ever need. Greed and need. There's a need and there's a greed. So, which is it going to be? If it's greed, then it's selfishness. We don't need what we're greeding for.
Who was the little girl in Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory? Remember her? And she wanted everything. I want it all. She used to sing her song, and her dad would give her everything. She wanted the golden egg. She wanted everything.
Yeah, well, all kids would be like that, I'd imagine. We're talking about adults here.
No, yeah, we're not only talking about adults. We're talking about greed.
Yeah, we're talking about greed, Dean. But greed. But me and what I'm thinking is adults. I'm not thinking kids. Of course, kids are going to be like that.
Boy, no, not of course kids are going to be like that. Not every kid is like that.
Listen, if you give a kid a bar of chocolate, he's going to take it, right? The chances are he probably doesn't want to share it. Okay? Until you tell him the right thing to do. Share that chocolate with the other.
So do you think that children, this is interesting.
Some children have a natural.
Hold on. Do you think children are born greedy?
No,
so
I don't.
It's not natural then? Where does it come from?
No, I didn't say it was natural. I said, what I was trying to say was, some children have a natural, that instinct to share.
Where do they come from?
They can learn it from the parents.
So it's not a natural instinct, it's a learned instinct.
Whoever they're brought up with.
It's a learned instinct.
I think it's a learning instinct, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong in saying that. I'm not a psychiatrist here.
So back to the question, do you think children are born greedy?
I don't think so.
So it's something they learn?
I know, but see, one way or another, you have to learn the kids what's right from wrong anyway.
Yeah.
Now, that is a tough question. Like, that's really trying to kick me here, yeah? But the point about it is, if, as I said, if you give a child, 2 years old, maybe a bar of chocolate, if they're friendly with other kids, chances are they will share it naturally. Yes.
Yeah.
But then you might get that little kid who's a bit wild, little chap, and he wants it all for himself.
He hasn't learned that lesson yet.
Well, it's not even about the learning the lesson. It's not really. You're not really learning them a lesson. You're teaching them kindness. You're teaching them love. You know what I mean? You're teaching them how to share. So basically, you have a chat with them and tell them that little bit of right from wrong there. So when they're being told and understand, even as a 2-year-old, that they were meant to share this, then of course they're going to share it. So that's the reason I wasn't really talking about kids. I'm talking about grown adults.
So what do you not like? Oh, there's two questions, right? One is, what do you not like about greed? And the other one is, why do you think if a child grows up into an adult that they hold on to greed?
Dina. Do you think I'm some sort of a mind reader here, or
No,
a
I'm just
psychiatrist,
Martin, you're
or
an adult.
whatever
You're
sort
a
of a word
father.
is?
You're a 50-year-old man. Why do you think that
Yeah,
kids?
but I'm not greedy.
Why do you think that kids hold on to greed into adulthood?
I don't know. You see, we're not talking about a bag of sweets here now or a chocolate, like, you know what I mean?
I know, but a bag of sweets as a kid turns into a bike as a teenager, turns into a car as an adult. You know what I mean?
Again, what we were saying earlier on about pride, yeah?
Yeah.
See, greed, the same, a lot of the same ingredients can be used within greed, you know that? Like selfishness, again, we used that word earlier on.
Yeah.
Selfishness can be used in greed, and I'd imagine it takes a very big place in it. Again, stupidity, we talked about that, didn't we? We use stupidity on when we're talking about pride. So stupidity surrounds greed again.
Explain to me stupidity because I'm not clear on what you're trying to say. I don't know what I'm thinking of stupidity and you thinking of stupidity.
So what do you think of stupidity? Come on.
Stupidity for me is like lack of basic common intelligence.
Basic common intelligence.
Yeah, don't put your hand in the fucking fire.
Okay, right, that's right. But it doesn't have to be about a fire or putting your hand in the fire.
But that would be,
it can be
if a person knew don't put your hand in the fire and then they put their hand in the fire, that's stupid. That's just thick.
Yeah. So if I said
ignorance might be different.
Yeah, if I said to you, Dean, right, okay, right, there's a lad out there and he's giving us, like, say, right, just say, for whatever reason, he's giving us €500, yeah?
Yeah.
And I said, Dean, you're not getting all that. I'm keeping all that. I worked for that. I done this, I done that. And you done the same amount of work as me for this, yeah? But I want all of that money, yeah? So that's greed.
Yeah.
But
stupidity would be being
would you not
you
say
away
to me?
with that?
Would you not? Yeah, stupidity would be letting me. But would you not always say you're stupid this, you're stupid that? Who do you think you are with all your greed? So it surrounds it. It still surrounds the word. Still surrounds it in different ways.
Yeah. Okay, I get it a bit. The other one is I'm asking.
So if I came to my senses then, right, and I'm saying, okay, Dean, I'm going to share that money with you, yeah.
Yeah, you're better having me as a friend and paying me half it rather than in the short term.
So when I'm thinking now, I've been stupid.
In the short term that you're just greedy.
Right, but I'm still thinking here, I've been stupid here. I'm after getting greedy here. I kept the €500. I didn't share with Dean, so that was a stupid thing to do.
Yeah,
so along with being greedy, it was stupid. So that's where stupidity surrounds.
I get it now. I understand it now. Yeah, because in the short term, if you think that taking half the money away from me is a good idea, down the line you're gonna get.
It was greed that blinded me to it.
Yeah.
But it was stupidity that made me make the decision.
Yeah. So what do you not like about greed?
I dislike everything about greed.
Right. So.
Greed is not just.
Tell me more.
Greed is not just. It's not just an action.
There's an opportunity for a song. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me.
But
that was a good song, wasn't it?
Oh, I love that one. She passed away recently.
Who was she?
Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, that's right.
Grease.
Grease, a good film.
So, what do you not like about greed?
I don't like anything about greed. Greed, absolutely.
Elaborate, will you?
I don't like anything about it, and I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
You asked me a question.
I was getting frustrated there.
And then you get all bold in yourself, yeah? Is there anybody here in the room to save Dean tonight, no?
Just me and you tonight.
Yeah.
Brother.
So the story is, anyway, greed, I hate greed. And the other thing about, that's what I want to talk about as well, hatred.
Yeah.
Hatred is a big point in life, yeah? It's a big, big issue in people's lives. I hate hatred. How do you manage that?
I like that one,
You asked me about greed, I hate greed. For everything else, I don't hate. You can't live with hate in our hearts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you dislike
we get
hate.
that one in a second.
You dislike hate, or you hate hate.
If you can think that in a minute, right? We'll. That's actually funny there now. I hate hatred.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, you're not supposed to hate anything or anybody. But when I say anything, you can sort of hate things if you want, but don't hate a person.
Yeah.
You can hate the things that person does.
The behaviour.
Are we going from one thing to another here now?
No,
yeah.
we're doing it. But this is the lovely thread in that ball of wool.
Where were we?
We were on greed. What you don't like about greed?
Greed. Was it greed you said to me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about greed. Greed, again, as I said earlier on, is selfish. Because you're thinking about yourself all the time. You want it all. You think you think you can have it all, but even if you can't, that greed is still stuck in you there. And it just, how would I say, it just, let's say it sinks right to your core, if you want to put it that way. And it's a very...
So why don't you like
you
greed?
might say to
why
me,
isn't greed a good thing?
I could say to you, it's a very bad feeling. Yeah, then you probably say to me, sure, if you were never greedy in your life, how would you have that feeling? But see, that doesn't take away the fact, that doesn't take away temptation. People can be tempted to be greedy.
Yeah.
And want it all, if you understand what I mean. So, if we can remove the temptation and try to have a bit of willpower, then we're pushing greed out of the way then. We can get rid of greed. So now we're leaving no room for greed in our hearts, because the willpower that God has given us is pushing the greed out, and He's pushing the temptation away also. So if we haven't got that willpower, then there's no way we'll be able to push temptation away. So with the temptation, we act out on our greed.
Yeah.
So the whole thing combined,
I get it.
It just, it's actually, right as I speak of it now, it makes me sick.
You're feeling it. I can see you feeling it.
It's going right through my soul, the best way of telling you. That's how bad I feel.
Yeah.
When I think of this temptation and the greed and all those bad things, like sinful and wrongful pride, all that stuff combined, it just goes right through me. I hate it.
So what's the key to unlocking all that?
The key to unlocking it all is not wanting to live like that.
Okay. Yeah, so first of all going, I don't want this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to live like this.
I want to say the key to all of that. I'm not answering for anybody else. I'm saying me.
Yeah, Martin, get over the fact that we know you're not answering for everybody else. Every time you speak, you say that. I don't want to hear it again. I'm going to put my foot down. Speak for you.
Dean, the reason I'm saying this...
Not every man in the world you have to apologise for.
No, I'm not apologising to anybody. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about my own feelings. I'm saying here is that there's probably, if we took 1,000 men, every one of them might have a different answer for that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying to you, I can only speak for myself. So you asked me about how do you unlock
all that?
All of that. That was an answer, a little bit of, it was sort of a different, let's say a roundabout answer to your question.
Yeah.
And I'm still saying it. I can speak for myself. I can't speak for 1,000 men.
How do you unlock all that?
If we had 1,000 men in this room here this minute, yeah, and you asked every one of them the same question that I've been asked, the chances are that they could explain it maybe 10 times better than I can, or maybe 10 times worse. Some of them. Now, but every one of them might have their own, let's say, their own distinctive way of explaining something like that.
Yeah.
If it makes any sense.
But do you think that...
So I'm explaining it in my way.
Do you think that there's something that would connect all of their answers? Yeah. For example, deciding that you don't want to live like this. Yeah. That's a big one. Well, then
you're making a stance. You're making a stance.
That's a big one. That's like, for example, recovery again is deciding, I've come to a point in my life where I just don't want this anymore. I've had my fill of this.
That was like the story in the Bible where Zacchaeus, yeah, he was a little man, yeah, but he was a tax collector. And when Jesus came to the village, Zacchaeus went running and hiding, yeah, because he knew he had overcharged people, not just collecting taxes, but he was overcharging them in taxes. And he was the village taxman, basically, if you like.
He got a bit greedy.
So he ran up the tree, didn't he? And he went hiding from Jesus. So
I remember that story.
He thought he couldn't be seen. So the story was when Jesus was talking to all the people, everybody wanted to have a little say. And he looks up and he said, Zacchaeus, come down here, he said. So Zacchaeus then started asking for forgiveness, basically. But the thing about it was, the miracle happened was that Jesus made Zacchaeus see that how greedy he was. So Zacchaeus made a deal. He said, I will pay back everybody that I've taken money from, and I'll also pay it back on the double.
How did he make him see it?
It was a miracle of Jesus that made him see it.
Yeah, but what was the miracle?
They opened his eyes to greed.
Yeah, but was there something that Jesus said or something going, here's how I'm going to show you your greed?
He wouldn't have to say anything. His presence would have made Zacchaeus realise alone.
Yeah, cop onto himself and go, you're being a bit greedy here now.
That's like me saying to you, Dean, hold on for a second, you're robbing such a one, you're robbing that one, you're robbing this one, you're overcharging them for this, that and the other, whatever it might be. And you mightn't
have had that conversation with yourself.
You're lost in that all the time, yeah?
Blinded
so you're doing this from week to week.
Greed.
Yes. So you're doing this from week to week. And eventually I come across you and say, Dean, hold it for 1 second here. Do you realise what you're doing here? You're robbing people. You're overcharging them for this and that and the other. And then you come to your senses. Okay, I'm going to give all that back, and I'm going to give them back to double because I did rob them. I did overcharge them. So you were robbing them blindly, but the reality was you were the one that was blind.
Yeah.
So now you've come to your senses. You've let go of greed. You don't have that in your life anymore. Of course, you're a happier person, without a doubt. But you came to the understanding of the wrongful thing that you were doing. What was the wrong thing you were doing? You were allowing greed to overtake your life.
Yeah, the temptation of the money allowed greed in.
Yes.
Because you thought having all the money is going to make me better.
Yes.
Greed is the knife and the scars run deep.
That's right.
Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one. That's a good one.
Greed and it is good. The knife.
I've actually seen that's written somewhere on some...
and the scars
some
run deep.
Some wall around Dublin.
Down the docks.
Is that what it is?
It was about 10 years ago. An artist called Mazer wrote it. It was the lyrics from a Damien Dempsey song.
Yes.
Greed is the knife.
And the scar runs deep.
And the scars run deep.
That is the one, yeah. It's very good.
So what does that mean? The means is you're harming yourself and others by being greedy.
Yeah.
And the repercussions of that.
Well, if you just earlier on when we talked about, we'll say, go back, say 5 minutes, yeah? When I was trying to describe to you about greed and selfishness and all this combined, didn't I just say to you, I can feel it going right through me?
Yeah.
That's probably came from somebody, what you're saying there now. Greed is the
knife.
And the scar runs deep.
Scars run deep.
That came from somebody who probably felt that themselves.
Yeah, they felt it. It cut them. Your greed cuts me.
Yes.
It's visceral. Do you know that word, visceral?
Not really,
You ever watch a horror movie and something happens like that?
Do you remember I told you I went to school, I stopped when I was 12.
But you ever watch a horror movie and something scary happens and you get a feeling?
I'm not into horror movies, Dean.
Did you ever...
so if you get a fright of something...
Fright. You jam on the car.
You get that gut. Oh,
that's called that's a visceral feeling.
You get that solidness in your stomach, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that called, Dean, sorry?
Visceral.
Visceral?
Yeah.
And that's just what it means, is it?
Yeah, and people try and recreate that, like in horror movies or on roller coasters. That's what they're trying to do, is get that feeling.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. All right.
That's the whole purpose of those. People who jump out of airplanes and all that, they're trying to get that kick of adrenaline.
Brilliant. So what's that got to do with greed and what we're talking about here now?
You feel it. You feel greed.
You feel the greed inside you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever felt greed, Dean? Have you ever felt it, yeah?
I have felt the effects of other people's greed in my community, definitely.
You have felt other people's?
I've felt the effects of other people's greed in my community.
I'm asking you, have you ever felt the effects of greed in you?
Have I ever been greedy, first of all?
Have you ever thought you've been greedy, like, yeah?
Like I want all the sugar lumps.
Like the time I was walking with you and you found the €50, yeah?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't share it, remember that?
I remember I
put
was in
it straight into your pocket, yeah?
I remember I was in Edinburgh.
So, Dean, do you not think that was greed, no?
And I found 20 quid on the ground in Edinburgh. And I looked around. Do you know that feeling?
So you found money a few times then, did you?
You ever find money, right? And you look around.
I couldn't understand, Dean. I didn't take note. I didn't take notice. I did take notice, like, but I probably wouldn't have took the money if you anyway. But you didn't offer it. You just put it in your pocket, and I just see, what's this greedy? What? I probably called you 100 names.
You like a story.
I probably called you 100 names in my heart, in my mind, yeah. But I let you off with it.
Did you ever find money?
And even worse again, then I treated you to a burger that you even remember.
Oh, you did, yeah. That was lovely.
And you have the 50 in your pocket. Now, Dean, that's a perfect example of greed.
Did you ever?
Look at who I'm. I don't believe this. Look, I'm doing a podcast with. I'm talking about greed, and now all these things are coming back to my mind. Dean, I don't believe this.
Man, this is called pride. So basically, you don't like pride.
Dean, hold it for 1 second now. Is that why you got all quiet there when I was talking to you about when I was talking about pride?
He's on a roll.
You wanted to keep greed out of this, didn't you? Because you knew this was going to come out.
Smile on his face.
And you're putting the head down. Now I realise why you're putting the head down. You were trying to hide the embarrassment up because you knew somewhere along the line I was going to bring this storyline up about the €50, yeah? And now you're still even not even offering the €50.
Scurry by name, scurry by nature.
Have you got 50 on you now? You have?
Yeah.
Because we can correct this and I can clear your name on this podcast. You know?
Very good.
It's up to you, Dean. What do you want to do?
Did you ever find money?
Do you want to put your hand in your pocket for the 50, yes or no?
If I had €50.
Yeah.
for you.
So the 50 is gone. So now we're talking about shame now. Remember we talked about shame last
We're
week?
linking it all in now.
Now you're what do you call it? You're living with shame now,
You
are
tried
you?
to do this last week with Jeff, but you
Dean, hold on
failed
for 1
miserably.
second. Are you living with shame now or what? Can you confess that you're living with shame now? The fact that you were greedy and didn't share the €50.
So
No.
greedy.
Now, what's the point back to again? We talked about selfishness, is that right? So now you're being selfish still.
It's like you're
So
up.
selfishness,
It's like you're
greed,
up in the pulpit. Is that what they call it?
Gee, Dean, I don't believe
It's
this.
like you're up in the pulpit. If
that
I
just
put,
came
if
out
I put
there,
a
right?
priest joke around your neck,
That just came out there without realising, because completely, I wiped that €50 completely out of my mind. I'm telling you, you brought it back up here now. So now this is where it all came to place, yeah? We talked about pride, we talked about selfishness, we talked about anger. Now I'm getting angry now because now it's anger. We have the anger word in here, yeah? I'm getting angry because
what else have we got on the list?
I'm reminding myself, yeah?
Here, look, forgiveness.
Dean, yes, now, but I'll tell you what, I forgive you, Dean, okay?
Thank you, brother.
Right from my heart, I forgive you for not sharing that €50 that you found, and for making me spend money on the same day on you, yeah. Having the €50 in your pocket, yeah. Dean, I'm sorry to have to express this to on the podcast, but people need to know really who we're about here. Like, you know, we have to get our honesty out sometimes too, you know. But again, it's back to one thing: pride, selfishness, anger, stupidity. Yeah. All the one thing. Remember I told you it's like
There's
a ball.
another one here on the list.
Remember I told you it's like a ball of
Don't
wool.
be so bitter.
Bitter, yeah. I'm bitter now, but I'm forgiving you. So that's another 2 words I have there, yeah. I forgive you, Dean. Now all the bitterness is gone, yeah. Anyway, look, it came out there. Probably shouldn't have been said, but there's a time for everything, Dean. Especially bringing the truth out in people. But now that you know I forgive you for not sharing that €50, yeah, you can feel good now as well, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Scurry has left the building.
Elvis has left the building. Oh, that was a great old rant.
What?
Did you ever find money?
Yes,
And
I did.
did you ever find money and keep it?
No, I'll tell you
Now, I
what.
know you think you're amazing and all this, and like cleanliness is
am.
next to godliness or something like that. And
Yeah, I am.
You
I'm
know,
like that.
You've got a front row ticket up in heaven or whatever. Have you ever found money and kept it?
Yes, I have found money and I haven't kept it.
No. Did you ever find money and kept it?
No, there's ways of, let's say, of finding money, yeah? Obviously, when you find money, it's not yours. So you look around to see who owns it. You do your best to find out
Yeah.
who
If
owns
nobody's
it.
looking, stick it in the pocket.
Yeah, but you can find other ways of giving it back.
Yeah, but have you ever stuck it in your pocket?
Yeah, because if you don't put it in your pocket, you're going to lose it again. So someone else is going to find it. What do you do? Where
So
do you
how
put
else
it?
would you give it back? Say a prayer for
The
somebody?
first thing we do is use our
I'd say you were saying a load of bleeding
No,
prayers.
prayers doesn't buy you no ticket to
You're right, you're right. People used to think that
money doesn't buy you no ticket to heaven.
people used to think that you could buy your way into heaven.
Now that's more selfishness, isn't it? And
Or
more
stupidity.
I was getting at that. It's more selfishness, more stupidity, more blindfold.
But they used to do it. The churches used to do it. The churches used to have this thing where if you gave the money to the church, you could buy yourself, a trip through to heaven.
No, it wasn't like that.
No, it was like that. It mightn't be the church that
no.
you're in, but it was
the wrong.
it was churches.
Yeah, it was not in the Catholic Church. It's the wrong teachings that people are getting. Like for instance, Dean, here, look at charity. Charity is a great thing, right? Charity is from the heart. Yeah, it's not from the pocket.
Yeah.
Although it can sometimes involve giving money. Yeah. So basically, right, you're down and out, yeah, and I'm looking across there, and Dean's house is no light in there. Dean has no food. Dean has no whatever electricity. Dean has no gas. Dean has no this, that, or the other. Yeah. Dean has a couple of kids there, and he's looking after, and he has no ways of doing this. So now you put your hand in your pocket. You give Dean a few bobs. Say, Dean, here, look, get a bit of food for the kids. Get a bit of electricity or gas, whatever you need there. Yeah. Now you're not buying your way into Dean's life there. You're expressing charity from your heart.
Yeah.
Okay. So now them good deeds.
You're not looking for that and back.
Exactly. But them good deeds can buy us a ticket to heaven, yeah, without a doubt. But the money, how the heck do you present money? Do you bring a chest of money to heaven, which and ask God, is it okay if I give you
But
this?
some people used
here?
to think that they'd be buried.
Yeah, that's right.
The
Bad
pharaohs
teachings.
in Egypt were bleeding buried with all their gold.
Well,
and all.
there you go. Wrong teachings. I believe that was all wrong teachings.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah, but that's where they were stupid. So I'm back
Yeah,
to
but
one.
you might be stupid. What you believe might be wrong because what they were
No,
thinking.
I believe.
They built the bleeding pyramid thinking they were right.
if you do something good from your heart,
Yeah.
then there's nothing wrong with that. There
Yeah.
cannot be anything wrong with that.
if you do it from the heart. I
Because
agree
our
with
conscience will tell you if you're doing something good, your conscience will tell you.
Oh, the conscience.
Conscience. Yes,
Conscience is very interesting.
it's very
isn't it?
important. It's our lives. Our conscience is our lives.
Conscience is the thing that's sitting behind the greed. Sitting behind,
conscience is
sitting
conscience.
behind
Conscience is the guy
the
that gives
pride.
you. Conscience is the guy that gives you the kick up in the arse when he thinks you're doing something stupid or wrong.
Trips you over and,
Yes.
and lets you fall.
Exactly.
The conscience
he'll
goes, hold
remind
on a
you.
minute here, pal. You thought taking that thing from that person was the thing to do.
Yes.
Because it was going to make you a better man or woman.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on a minute. Here's a kick of a reality, a slap in the head, a kick in the hole. Cop onto yourself.
Yes, now you have it. And that's why we thank God for our conscience, because it allows us, if we listen to our conscience, it allows us.
Oh, so that's a different one because we have to listen to it.
We have to listen, yes.
Even if we don't want to listen to it, it's
we're,
there.
We're fooling ourselves then.
It's there.
We're fooling ourselves and we're going to go down the wrong track.
Smuggling our conscience out with different things.
Yeah.
With
so now we have
expensive cars and whatever, you know what I mean? Big houses.
If we're not listening to our conscience, it means we don't have no guilt. If we listen to our conscience, then we'll observe guilt, basically. Guilt will tell us, look at what's right or what's wrong. Obviously, if we're wrong, we're guilty of something then.
That's like the definition of a psychopath is somebody who doesn't have guilt or they don't listen to their conscience. Their conscience.
In a sense, yes.
Because they don't have any remorse, they don't have any emotions or thoughts about it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? So
but they're only fooling themselves.
Yeah, but there's a medical condition called being a psychopath.
There's treatment for them things.
What's that?
There's treatment for that. Hospital.
Yeah, I don't know if that works for psychopath. Psychopath is like, for example, you see it on TV, like the murderer.
Dean, hold up there, Dean. Can we not talk about psychopaths? You're scared me here now.
Who?
And we just right. Well, we're back on. We go back to where we were. Is that okay?
Go on.
Right. We were talking about our conscience. If we don't listen to our conscience,
yeah,
we are liable to do silly and stupid and wrong things in our lives. Yeah. If you have that little bit of cop on, and just sort of step back a little bit, and think for a second, hold up, this is what it might be, whether it's right or wrong, is it the right decision, the good decision, the bad decision, whatever it might be. It could be anything. Yeah? But our conscience is there to remind us.
Bob Marley's song, guiltiness, rest on them conscience, oh Lord. That's the best singing you get out of me all day.
Do I have to keep warning you? I'm not exactly warning you, I'm advising you.
Guiltiness will rest on your conscience.
To stick with the day job.
It's going to sit there. The guiltiness is going to sit there and sit there. It's not going to go away. You're going to have to address it. That's what Bob Marley was saying. The guiltiness will rest on your conscience.
Yes.
That's a beautiful phrase.
That's a good line. It's a very good line.
It's a nice line.
See, a lot of people probably wouldn't even understand that line.
The message is in the music. If you're going to listen to the music, listen to the message. UB40's message, Bob Marley's message.
We said this before. There's some good stuff in Bob Marley's songs.
For me, he's like a priest.
There's a lot of politicalness in it.
For me, he's like a priest, man.
Yeah, he's a when you say a priest, like a preacher in his own way.
Absolutely.
He gets the message out there through his songs.
And the healing.
Now, there's a lot of people like that also. Probably a lot of people doesn't even know Bob Marley or doesn't listen to them.
I don't know. I think if you don't know Bob Marley, cop onto yourself.
No, what I'm saying is probably like the real older folk wouldn't be into that kind of music, like, you know what I mean? I talk about, when I say youth, anybody between 30 and 60 now, yes.
Does your man know Bob Marley?
Would know who Bob Marley. My mother.
Yeah.
I've never really asked her if she know Bob Marley, so I wouldn't.
Well, ask her. Because Bob Marley was around in the late 60s, early 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? So anybody who's alive now...
It would be more popular in the 80s though, wouldn't he? Like, starting off earlier than that.
So anybody who was 20 in the 80s, listening to it...
Be 60 now, is it?
60 odd now. Yeah, you know what I mean? People know Bob Marley. Right,
where were we, Dean, anyway?
We were on pride, greed, selfishness, forgiveness, guilt, conscience.
We were on conscience about 3 times and you kept moving into a different direction. How the heck are people going to understand what we've been talking about here?
Because we're on a ramble, Martin. What we're trying to do is tease stuff out. We have a ball of bleeding wool of all kind of things.
But we can't talk about one thing and go off the subject.
I think we can. I think we're good at it.
No, we probably can. But we can't keep doing it 5 and 6 times over and come back to that one thing and expecting people to listen to this nonsense. So anyway, Dean, What were we talking about there, Dean, again?
Don't be asking me what we're talking about. You always do that. That's your little
Yeah,
fallback.
you keep putting me off.
I don't give a rat's. That's your little fallback.
That's up to yourself. If you want to have good conversation,
The next bit's going to come from
if
you.
you want good conversation, we got to keep on the track.
Right, okay.
We can't keep throwing ourselves off there, throwing off all the time.
Go on.
So where were we again?
Don't be fucking asking me.
Oh, man. Dean, you make me bitter, you know that?
You make me feel like dancing. What's bitterness?
Bitterness is a very bad feeling. Do you hold bitterness? Now, don't get me wrong. Let's not be saints here, right? And don't come across to me as one either. Everybody, every now and again, feels a bit of bitterness, but it doesn't mean you have to hold on to it.
I'm trying to think about what is bitterness.
Bitterness can come from anger, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Someone upsets
But what
you,
is it? Yeah.
and you're bitter about it. But it doesn't mean you have to be bitter like an old... how would you say an old... I don't want to say the word.
Say the word.
I was going to say an old traveller lady, yeah. Angry.
Like a little prune face.
Yeah.
All twisted up and all.
I'm only joking. It doesn't mean you have to be... doesn't mean you have to be bitter.
No, you're not describing it. What
I
is
know
it?
that, I'm joking.
You're holding on to resentment, is it?
I'm being sarcastic.
You're holding on to resentment.
Resentment.
Holding on to anger.
Well, I just said that anger is probably the thing that causes bitterness. So if you get rid of your anger, then the chances are the bitterness will just wear off.
The bitterness won't set in. Bitterness for me is that you hold on to anger for a long time and it actually sets into your body. You know what I mean?
That'd be a bad thing to do now, wouldn't it?
Well, people do it all the time.
Yeah, but what people have to understand, if they're holding on to bitterness, they're doing no harm to nobody, only themselves.
It's going into their body.
Because
it's physically actually going into their body.
It's whirling around inside them, and it's beating them up without even realising it.
But it's been proven that it's also killing them. It's giving them disease. It's giving them cancer. It's giving them... You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, holding on to bitterness is, it's probably a ruination of character. I think it would fog your thinking, it cloud your thinking, making bad decisions because you probably have this bitterness taking over your life in a sense.
So bitterness is like
it's like
stubbornness as well.
In a sense, yes.
Like I don't want to let this thing go.
It is in a sense it is, yeah. Bitterness, stubbornness, anger. What was the other word you used there?
Yeah, I think I said stubborn.
Being the educated guy. I want to word you said a word a couple of minutes ago. I want to hear
I can't remember it.
Well, that's 3 words anyway.
Yeah.
And it all, I think, again, combines into the one thing.
So for me, something happened to me or someone done something
Forgiveness,
on me, and I'm
that's
not
the 4th.
going to forgive them.
Yeah, so bitterness, anger,
stubbornness,
forgiveness. I think that all combines into one thing.
Yeah.
Do you know that? So if you take that into 4 different parts, put bitterness one side, put anger on the other side, put stubbornness on the other side. And what was the other one again?
The key, forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness is the key.
If we have bitterness, anger, Dean, I need your help here. I can't keep
bitterness, anger, stubbornness.
And stubbornness. So stubbornness is like saying, no, I'm not forgiving him.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is like, again, not wanting to let go. So you're going, if you don't forgive, you're deciding to keep beating yourself up. Because it can be very, very, very hurtful. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's a human being alive that hasn't experienced anger, bitterness, forgiveness, stubbornness. I can't say that every human being has experienced stubbornness. Some nice people out there.
Stubbornness is a good one because it's like, I'm right.
I think a stubbornness can be something like it's like representing yourself as you're taking the head or something here. Because that's where the stubbornness might come in. Right, that's the only way I can describe it, okay?
Yeah, it's like
you're a stubborn pig,
I'm going to say I'm right, even though I know I'm wrong. That's kind of stubbornness to me.
That is stubbornness, and that can cause a lot of problems. Whether they be big or small problems. Stubbornness. Again, stupidity to make that kind of... I'm sticking with that. I'm stupid to stick with my stubbornness.
Yeah.
Right, I know we're going on a long time about these 4 or 5 words.
No, they're interesting.
But sometimes they're good.
Okay, have you ever been stubborn?
Have I ever been stubborn?
Or stubborn something that is a trait that you have?
I can't say that that I've never been stubborn. I genuinely have to say that I probably was. There was times in my life when I would have been stubborn. Yes.
Do you have an example?
No, I can't say exactly that I have examples, because if there was times when I would have been stubbornness, for me to remind myself that, I'd be ashamed of it now. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but don't be ashamed of it. Just enlighten me. Give me an example of when Martin Stokes were stubborn that you learned from.
I can't say that I can remember the exact affairs, the fellow would say I've been stubborn, because
You're just being
for
stupid
instance,
now.
No, yeah, I am being stupid. Stupidity is causing stubbornness.
Yeah.
If I could say to you, Dean, I remember such a time when I was stubborn, then I would be stupid, because I'm holding on to something still.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say
No,
that
but the memory of it, the memory of the thing that you done where you were stubborn, that's not holding on to it. That's just the memory
I
of
can't
it.
say that, because thanks be to God for the seldom little times I would have been stubborn. I wouldn't have carried it with me.
Yeah.
I could be stubborn for a minute or two. It could be something as stupid and simple as that, and gone.
So you've learned to let it go quicker.
I have that. Yeah, I feel. Let's say
not hold on to it.
I do try not to hold on to that stuff, because we don't need that baggage in our lives.
You know the feeling.
We don't need stubbornness.
You know the feeling
we don't
that
need
you get.
stupidity. We don't need anger. We don't need bitterness. We don't need unforgiveness in our lives. There's no room in our lives for that. And if we hold on to bitterness, anger, stupidity, unforgiveness, then we have no love inside us. We're throwing love away completely.
So you see your feelings, right?
Yes.
Like that visceral stomach feeling that you got from things. I think that they're just like little warnings, or they're little ways that our body is telling us.
Dean, let me tell you, my friend.
No. Our body is telling us, you need to forgive this person. You need to not be stubborn.
Yes.
And we're feeling it in our bodies. As the body is going, forgive, don't be stubborn. It's showing us. And sometimes we don't listen to that.
Yeah, that's probably a fact, yes. But also, you got to be very careful with forgiveness. Forgiveness can walk you back into another trap if you're not careful with it. Like, that's you, for instance, somebody does something wrong to you, and you know this is a bad person here. But by your way of forgiving him doesn't mean you have to walk back to him and fall back into his traps again.
Yeah, so there's that one.
So you have to be...
Forgive and forget. You don't have to forget. You don't have to be stupid.
Yeah, the word is I'll forgive, but I'll try to forget. Now, the thing about it is, you got to be still aware of an instance that took place, or whatever it might be. So in other words, like, here, look, I don't like Dean, but I forgive him for what he said about me or what he done, but I'd rather not be around him now.
And I learned the lesson from that.
I've learned a lesson not to be around Dean. I don't hate him. I don't wish him any harm, but I'd rather not associate with him, because why? Because I know the type of person that he is.
Yeah, I know where he's at. I know the type. I know what he's into. He's not into love. He's not into charity. He's into greed, and he's into stubbornness.
Now, how would you deal with that if you knew somebody like that? Go on, tell me.
If I knew somebody who was...
Know how I described that there now, yeah?
Yeah.
How would you deal with that if you knew somebody like that? What would be your actions or reactions or movements, whatever?
Yeah, look, I like being around people who aren't greedy. I like being around people who are full of love. I like being around people who aren't selfish. And I find when I'm around selfish people or angry people or, that type of thing, I don't feel good. It doesn't serve me well. So I tend not to be in those circles, in those people.
So if someone done something wrong to you,
yeah,
you'd forgive them, yeah? You'd try, would you?
If someone done something wrong on me, I try and see it from their perspective, from their shoes, to put on their hat for a minute.
Yeah.
To see how they see the world, to see maybe the reasons why they done that or they continue to do that. Because, nobody is perfect. Everybody's fallible.
Yeah, that's absolutely understandable, yes. But how would you deal with it?
So I deal with it like that. I try and see it from their perspective. So in this community, I used to get really angry at drug dealers, right? I'm going to talk about this for a sec. I used to get really angry at drug dealers. And then I realised that they're people, they're humans, they're hurt, they're looking for money. They might be blinded by greed or stupidity or bitterness.
They have weaknesses.
So I try and see it from them. So they're they're not the biggest villain in the world now that they used to be in my heart or my head, and I don't carry around that resentment as much as I used to when I was younger. Does that make sense to you? Because I think sometimes our disgust or hate of people, we can carry that around. And
it's not right to hate anybody.
No, but sometimes we do it, and we have to learn the lesson of it.
It doesn't mean that you don't have to hate the things they do. Like people, you don't have to hate the person. I hate the thing they do.
That's it. I see the person, the human, and I can separate the human from the behaviour.
Yeah.
And I can my feelings. I used to just feel it's all one. The person is the behaviour, and it would turn me stomach. And then I realised that they're just people. And I'm just using drug dealers as an example. It could be anybody who's doing something, like a corrupt businessman or whatever, you know. If you separate the person from the behaviour, and that's not to say that they don't own their behaviour and that there's not consequences for their behaviour, but in my heart or in my head, I see the person.
Okay, so I'll go back to the other question I was going to ask you earlier on, yeah? We were talking about forgiveness, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you like to forgive people? Straight up. Do you find it hard to forgive people?
I don't find it hard. I actually enjoy that space, that conversation. I actually enjoy also putting my hand up and go, I messed up there, or I done something wrong. I enjoy the opportunity for me to be able to take
some of the blame for something like.
Yeah, but not like just to take a different path rather than the stubborn path. Because I've taken the stubborn path before in my life and I end up in a shit place. And I've gone, no, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. And I just end up in a shit place. So I actually enjoy putting my hand up and go, I messed up there.
Yeah.
I done something wrong. It mightn't have been my intention to do the thing wrong, but I did do the wrong thing.
Yes.
And in that way, I forgive myself. But I'm also finding the space
to forgive
other people. If I can start to forgive myself, there might be an option for me to forgive other people.
That's right, very good.
So if we can either forgive other people first, then maybe forgiving ourselves, because sometimes forgiving ourselves is the fucking hardest thing to do.
That's right.
And we carry around those chains and those suitcases of shame and guilt and embarrassment.
Like I said earlier on, if you can't find forgiveness, you're beating yourself up.
Absolutely, yeah. And sometimes we beating ourselves up is the only thing we know how to do. We're not sure how to be kind to ourselves. We can be kind to everyone else, but not kind to ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. If it's a thing that someone does something wrong or says something wrong to you or about you, one thing or another, and you don't seem to want to forgive, the fact is that they're getting on with everyday life.
Yeah.
But you're living with it.
You're carrying the chains around.
You're keeping it inside. You're beating yourself up all the time. You're the one who's suffering here now. Because why? Because you can't find a way to let it go. And the way to let it go is to look at it. I forgive that person, but I'm finished with them. Simple as that. I'm not going down that road no more with them, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, I haven't got myself in a situation or haven't experienced a situation where I've said I'm finished with that person, because I see everyone as
this is what I was trying to say, Dean,
as human. Everyone sins. Everyone, nobody's perfect.
That's right.
And I think there's opportunity for redemption for everybody all the time.
No, the moral, what I was trying to point out was when I was saying about if you don't forgive a person, how you're beating yourself up. The reason I was saying that was when you actually let go, that's when the healing process starts.
Yeah.
You become a better person inside, you become stronger.
And you see what you done there. You done a thing there a second ago. You raised your shoulder up and you twisted your body.
You become more aware. We
hold on to this stuff in our bodies as well.
That's right, exactly. And you become more aware of the situation then. Now you're taking control of it. You're letting go, you're forgiven. You see? So now you're how would I say, you're allowing your mind to think better now, to make right decisions on stuff.
Actually, you're making a decision. You're making a choice.
Yes, exactly. You're giving yourself freedom, and you mightn't even realise it.
So the liberation comes from the choices we make sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes we think we're enslaved by our own thoughts and behaviours, greed and all this. But actually, just based on how we think about it, we can liberate ourselves from that. From a big one in the traveller community, shame. A big one
See, that's one I want to ask you about that question. Yeah, shame in traveller community.
A big one in Ireland, guilt.
In Ireland.
You know?
Right, I want to get back to the shame in the traveller community.
Yeah.
We talked about that here a couple of weeks ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, but I never had the opportunity of asking. The sort of point came up about shame in the traveller community. Right, and we tried to explain it the best way that we could. So, is there no shame in the settled community?
Absolutely. So there's campaigns all over the world, and I'm going to say one of them. It's kind of like an anti-fat shaming. You know what I mean? Where we used to shame fat people. Yeah? Look at that big fat fucker over there.
You used to.
As a society, in Irish society, in English society, in the Western world, we used to shame people. You know what I mean? And that was part, and it still is part of our culture. What we're trying to do now is stop the shaming, stop calling people out or slagging people off or pointing out how people are different or weaker or worse off than you. That is rampant, not only in the travelling community, but it is in the travelling community as well.
Right, yes,
It's in all communities.
So we have in all walks of life then.
Absolutely. One of the things I noticed though in the travelling community is that in the last couple of years with social media, it's being turned up, and there's people going online and shaming each other, saying you done this and you didn't do that, and you married him and you went off and done that, and you can't cook, and you done A, B, and C, and it's causing a lot of problems.
But is there, Dean? I'm back with the same question again. Does that happen in the settled community?
It does, but unfortunately, because of the size of the traveller community in Ireland and England, it's much smaller than the general population. So something that happens, it actually magnifies the problem. You know what I mean? Like if one settled fella does something shameful or whatever, or calls somebody out or slags somebody's off.
Yes,
there are billions of settled fellas. But if one traveller does it, there's only 40, 50, 60,000 travellers.
That's right,
So it looks like it magnifies it.
So it's like a sore thumb here, like, kind of.
Yeah, it stands out more.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it used to be like Ireland in the 70s. One black man walking out on Collins Street stood out.
That's right, 100%.
You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And we used to just think that, say, for example, drugs was only a problem in the black communities in America.
So basically, a lot of the things that are happening in the travelling community are happening in the settled community.
Absolutely.
But the fact that the travelling community are a smaller minority,
it stands out.
It seems to show up more in them. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I understand now, yeah.
And
because we've talked about things here in the past on the podcast.
Yeah, shame has come up a good couple of
certain
times.
Little bits and pieces, and it seems to boil back to travellers for some reason. So I was getting a bit confused. If we're all human beings, are these things not happening in the settled community? But the reality of it is that they are happening in the settled community. They're not magnified enough.
They're not magnified. It's easier to hide. It's part of the human condition.
Because of the bigger population of settled people.
Yeah, it's part of the human condition. All these things are part of the human condition.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Pride, fears, insecurity, selfishness, bitterness, shaming. I think all being human.
I was going to say that. I think all this is because we're humans at the end of the day, and that's where it all comes in.
Yeah.
It's not about being traveller or being settled man or being black man or being white man or being American or being Irish or being whatever race,
it's part of being human.
breed or generation from.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in the animal kingdom. They're busy enough just eating food and making babies. We get caught up with the ego and all that type of stuff.
Yes.
And we want it all. We want to be the centre of attention. And sometimes along the way, our fantasies and dreams get shattered by loads of different things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Rocky Marciano, who didn't become the heavyweight champion of the world. Like such and such a person who got battered by his cousin or his father or something like that. By somebody who was forced into drug dealing in the community because he was living in poverty for 20 years.
Yes.
The humanness kicks in society.
Everybody has a story, haven't they?
Everybody has a ball of wool. Everybody has shit that they have to try and unpick. That's the journey. That is the journey. And we can do that in ignorance, in stupidity, on our own, or we can do it with love in community.
Yes.
And my thing is do it with love and courage in community.
So that's where all these words were sort of combined into one now, weren't they?
Yeah, that was deadly. I really enjoyed that.
We had what was the words again? We had
Pride, greed, stubbornness,
selfishness, bitterness, anger,
guilt,
forgiveness. We got about what about 7 or 8 good words in there.
For me, the forgiveness one is the key, because if we forgive ourselves, forgive me, Lord. What's that one?
Forgive me what?
Forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned.
Forgive them, Lord, for
they know not what they do.
They know not what they do.
But also, forgive me, Lord.
That happened on the cross, when Jesus was on the cross.
Forgive me, Lord, because I have sinned. I'm human.
Yeah.
I fucking sinned.
Yeah, we have that.
Forgive me.
We are humans and we're allowed.
I'm going to forgive myself. We're
not allowed to do wrong, but we are allowed to be weak. We do have it anyway. It's a built-in weakness.
I think what we do wrong, let's be honest, we do wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that doing wrong is the thing you should do, but let's be honest, we do wrong. We have sinned. We will sin. It's not the end of the world.
I think one of the important things is when a person does something wrong is recognising that they've done wrong and try to, let's say, repair it, like, if you know what I mean. In other words, right, you've said or done or whatever it might be something wrong. Now that I realise I've said I've done something wrong, I'm going to try and work on that and maybe not do this wrong again, or try and fix the problem or fix the brokenness in it, like.
Well, sometimes you don't know you've done it wrong, though.
I'd say there's a chance. There's a chance of something.
So we're
there.
coming into the whole offended thing here. Sometimes you do things, you offend somebody, you haven't got a fucking clue you offended them. You just don't know. I didn't have a clue.
Like that was something that happened to you recently, wasn't it?
It was actually. I was talking to a girl.
Tell me the story, but you don't need to mention any names.
No, I was talking to a girl the other day, and she was like, "Oh, you never said hello to me," and I was like, "Okay, maybe I didn't see it," but she was kind of upset.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was like I done something wrong, but I didn't know I done anything wrong.
So but you didn't say hello to her, you probably didn't even see her, did you?
Probably didn't even see her. But that's just one example of somebody doing something that they weren't aware that they'd done, and somebody else was upset or had feelings or got emotional or got offended by it.
I think that was a bit selfish.
I
think so. I think of her. I don't know who she is.
I don't know if it was selfish of her, because maybe she thought I did see her.
Yeah, but can we not make a joke out of that or a jibe out of it and not be like, not take it so serious and let it lead on to a problem or a serious thing or a serious issue?
I understand what you were saying, that maybe she was making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And sometimes we do that. Sometimes we make something big out of something small.
No, on the other hand, that could be another weakness that she has. Something she can't help.
So I think one of the things is perspective. Having
seriousness.
Stop being so fucking serious.
Some people take stuff too serious. Now, Dean, you're good for that, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like the time when I got on the WhatsApp and I was being sarcastic with you.
Yeah, sometimes your sarcasm, I'm tired and I don't want to fucking listen to her.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's you being serious, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes I'm more serious when I'm tired.
Oh, hold on for 1 second now, right?
Hungry, angry, lonely, and
that's
tired,
right.
I'll be serious.
Just because you're angry doesn't mean someone else is not allowed to be happy.
No, you're right.
You see?
Yeah.
So if someone's being sarcastic with you in a jolly and funny way, doesn't mean you have to go and throw the head on the pillow and look for your lollipop or your soda or your bottling tit, the baby's bottling tit.
Look for me, mammy's buzzing down.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you don't have the right to do that.
Yeah.
Like you're nearly 50 years old, like, you know what I mean?
So there's kind of
now you have another 50-year-old man here, and he's joking with you and he's being sarcastic with you, and it's just because I didn't pick the right time to have a joke or a jibe.
So
I have to go on now and start petting and coaxing Dean.
So
is that how it is?
Mine, but you sometimes do that as well. You're sometimes guilty of being a little bit Martin's way or the highway.
I like that. I like that picture.
Isn't it though? I'm not pointing fingers at you, but sometimes you are a little bit.
I'm not so serious about that, but I'll tell you what I would be serious about. If I think there's something to be done, and I think it's the right thing to do, then I like to take that a little bit serious.
So that's called, you know what that's called?
Because I think it's stupidity,
But you know what it's called?
Selfishness, no.
Self-righteousness.
Sorry, what?
Self-righteousness.
Yeah, but
so sometimes you are a little bit self-righteous.
Suppose, like I just said, what if it's something that has to be taken care of, something that has to be done right? Do you not take that serious?
Who decides what's right?
The person that's supposed to keep it right.
But let's say there's
The person, whoever's if it's your duty, like for instance, that the what you call it, right? You have a job. It's your duty to make sure things are done right in that job.
like me editing this podcast.
So if you're not doing the job right because somebody else is distracting you or putting you off on it, then you're saying, hold it for 1 second. This is not the right way to go about this. He's distracting me, and I'm not going to get this job done right. So I have to get him out of the equation.
Yeah, there's something
to
else
get
there.
this done right.
There's something else there, though. I think sometimes you do think you know the best way to do it. You're right, and if you're right, somebody else.
Dean, you're lost for words right now. Okay,
if you're right,
so I'm going to say to you, Dean,
the person is not right.
I think I'm going to say to you now. You say it best when you say.
No, see, this is where you're getting cut out because you are sometimes self-righteous. You are sometimes self-righteous, as in you go, you know the best way, and you won't hear the other way.
No, that's stubbornness. That is stubbornness. What you're saying
that's self-righteousness as well.
Yeah, but to me, it's stubbornness. I'm not educated enough to understand your big long words.
Well, you understand righteousness.
Right from wrong.
No, righteousness.
Explain to me then what righteousness is, if that's the case.
So righteousness
if I'm saying to you, I understand right and I understand wrong.
Righteousness is I am right.
So that's stubbornness.
Okay, that's how you describe it.
So even if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, I'm saying to you, Dean, I am right.
But also thinking I'm always right.
Dean, come here. There can be a lot of sarcasm in that as well, you know.
Yeah.
I can be what do you call it? Sarcastic, is it? I can be sarcastic at times like that.
Why do you use sarcasm?
Because I'm not. It's just a bit of it's like a buzz, basically.
You like having a bit of crack.
Yeah, a bit of crack and joy with a message. Yeah, it doesn't mean if I use sarcasm.
And if someone doesn't get your sarcasm,
that's their problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because why?
Yeah.
Because again, I can't feed you with lollipops all day long every day.
So if somebody gets offended by something that you say, that's their problem.
No, that's not. If I'm not doing anything wrong, if I'm not saying anything wrong, if I'm being sarcastic in a jolly and funny way, and people get upset about that,
that's their problem.
It means they're having a bad day.
Or it's their problem,
in a sense, it's their problem, but it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's their problem because they're dealing with it in that way. So if they start getting all violent and all angry about it, I'll say, hold up here, hold up for 1 second. I'm just being sarcastic.
Don't be getting your knickers in a twist.
Well, look, I'm only having the crack with you. I'm only joking with you.
Yeah. Put your peanuts
I'm just
down,
being
relax.
sarcastic. So then it sort of brings them back down to the level again where they don't want to beat you up, like, you know what I mean? So that's the reality of that part.
But I think that's very common in society, is where somebody gets the wrong end of the stick. They don't get your jokes or your sense of humour. It happened to me recently.
No, but you're allowed that. You are allowed
recently,
that. Because
like,
not everybody might have the same level of sense of humour that you might have.
Absolutely.
But don't forget, we're not all perfect. So there might come the day when somebody's being sarcastic with me and I mightn't catch it. I mightn't click onto their jolly ways or their sarcasm, or that they're only having fun here, or that they don't really mean any harm. So now I might be having a bad day. So hopefully with a bit of luck, I don't take them up wrong, or I don't say something that offends them, because like a minute later you might just realise yourself, hold on for a second, this guy's only had a bit of fun. Why am I being so stupid here?
And I think sometimes...
Why am I being so thick or stupid or stubborn?
I think sometimes there's cultural stuff as well. I was out cycling today.
So now you feel like a big baby, don't you then? The fact that you couldn't get the joke, and you feel all stupid, don't you? Yeah. So therefore, the one that's on the receiving end of it, let's say, he's just taking things too serious.
So I was up in Hope today cycling.
What can happen if it was on?
And there was a German couple. They were hiking, and he was tired, and his leg was sore, and he had no crack, no sense of humour. And she was like, she's a little bit older than him.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to her, and she was just up for the crack. All the jokes that I was doing, she was loving them. She was making jokes and so on.
Yeah.
So we had two different people from Germany, from a whole different culture to Ireland.
Yes.
But he was tired and he wasn't into it. And I was just thinking, these Germans, they're not going to get my humour at all. But she got it.
She did. But maybe he was... he could have different issues going on in his life that he's dealing with.
Absolutely, yeah. Like,
and it could be a fact that he could be just dealing with him at that moment.
His leg was bleeding, killing him.
He's probably thinking, if this guy doesn't go away, I'm going to throw him off the cliff.
That's exactly what it looked like he was thinking. But she was loving it. And I just think that sometimes you just need to be a bit more aware and a bit more tolerant I need to be a bit more aware of who I'm in front of, and if I'm talking to somebody and they're getting offended,
You need to know when to pull back, kind of thing.
but they also need a little bit of tolerance. We all need a little bit of tolerance.
Yeah, but maybe not everybody sees it in that way, you see.
No, they don't. And you only start to see it when, through experience, by being involved in a situation where you took up the wrong end of the stick altogether and went, I read that situation totally
Did
wrong.
you ever do something, or let's say, like, not crack jokes, basically, but you ever sort of throw a one-liner there at somebody, and it just mightn't say come out right?
All the time.
So you're a bad comedian now, just saying to me.
Now, all the time I say shit
Is that
that
why you
doesn't
were
come out
sacked
right.
after your 10-year comedian? Remember, we talked about this before
Stop
as well.
picking at that bleeding scab.
We talked about this. Now you're admitting it.
So
It happens to you all the time. So now I'm getting a better picture here. I'm saying this is the reason that Dean was actually sacked from comedian.
don't let my honesty sway how you think about me.
No, but I have to appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, it's great.
Because now I'm getting a picture of your retirement in stand-up comedy. You know what
Are
I mean?
you setting me up as a failure
Were
here
you
in your
retired or
eyes
were
now?
you sacked is what I'd like to know. Because every time I come in here, you're telling me something different about it. So, do you want to explain yourself about how you got out of the stand-up comedy? Yeah.
I got a pain in my hole when I left.
Did you get kicked out the door?
Yeah.
Did you decide to kick yourself out the door? What?
I
did you say
matured and grew up,
or
and I
did you
realised
say-
the whole world doesn't
Did you
revolve
say there's no
around me.
money in this? Or did you become...
There was
what do you
actually
call
all
it?
right money in it.
No, wait for a minute. Did you say there was no money in this? Or did
He's
you...
on a roll again.
Or did you get your senses and grab your rucksack and say, lads, good luck, lads, I'm out of here, my school days are over.
Just like you with the belly dancing.
Did you say that? Did you say, good luck, lads?
What you don't know is Martin in
Brendan Gray said
Eastern
it.
Europe in 1850 was a belly dancer. His name was Martina.
Brendan Gray said, he said, good luck, lads, my school days are over. So that's where you got that line from.
I'm at the planting seed in everyone's head, thinking about Martin. 18 stone, 50-year-old
Whoa.
traveller belly dancing.
50, yeah, you're right, 50 years old. 18 stone's not bad, actually, is it?
No, well, you're only 4 foot, so.
No, but when you're in good shape like I'm, when you're in good shape like I'm in, Dean, you know what I mean?
So did I ever say
then your
stuff
good
to
looks-
people and
your
it
good
came
looks
out
carries you as well, you know, don't you? You get away with that as well.
in other people's eyes? But you have to go home and reflect on your own
Dean,
life.
I don't need to keep anybody happy, only me.
And your lady.
Yeah, well, she is my life, so.
Absolutely. So you asked me, did I ever say anything to anybody and it came out the wrong way? Yes, loads of times. And I'm sure you have as well.
I'll tell you what, I could remember once or twice when I've often sort of, not it wouldn't be, let's say, a written joke. I've often tried to come up with a one-liner as a slag.
Yeah.
Slagging, basically. And I just say it in the wrong way, where there was no creative atmosphere, if you like.
Yeah, no punchline.
Punchline. And then what I just do there. So now I'm finding myself then
Step
maybe
back.
yeah, but I'm finding myself maybe later on shaking hands with that person, apologising to them
Yeah.
for making an idiot of myself.
I don't mind making an idiot out of myself.
No, I'm up for that as well. I do that here. Look at.
I think it's part of it.
No, sure. We've done 14 podcasts now.
Yeah.
I've made an idiot of myself in every single one of them.
Yeah, you're,
So
you're doing really well.
I don't think being an idiot is a problem for me. I think it's just natural. So if I'm an
Because you're
idiot,
not letting that pride
if I'm an
strangle
idiot, it
you.
means I'm an idiot, and that's it.
Yeah.
So see me any way you want.
I think it's very refreshing for me to sit there with another man to have like your attitude, to have your way of thinking.
Sorry, Dean, say that again. A
Attitude.
traveller man with a attitude.
No, I didn't say traveller man. I just said another man
Is a traveller man with a attitude?
with a attitude.
Attitude, yeah. Say the traveller's word. Go on, I want to hear how you talk to a traveller.
Hold on, I have to practice me travel ways.
Go on, sure, Des Bishop learned enough of it. Go on.
Martin, have you got a attitude?
Dean,
That's a real song.
Dean, that sounds like somebody from Holt.
Martin, Winnie's Martin,
Say
Lex is Martin. Have you got a attitude?
Say it again.
I
go
need
on.
to do it practice. No, we don't be getting
it's good.
bleeding
What?
entertained on my. I'm not your monkey. Relax.
Well, look at. If you want to talk like a monkey, that's your choice.
You pay me peanuts
Did
for
you
this bleeding podcast.
Did you use that
anyway.
what travellers talk like?
Martin,
Go on, Dean, give one more shot. Go on, one more
what do you
shot.
want me to say?
Look, you claim to be a comedian again. We're talking about you. See, almost every podcast we have mentioned you.
Will I do a few traveller jokes?
No, you
Can I
you-
do some traveller jokes?
Come here for 1 second. When I met you first,
Yeah.
God help me, yeah. Not the very first time, but later on you told me you were a comedian for 10 years.
Go on.
I haven't heard one sensible joke out of you for the length I know you now, yeah? And you were a comedian stand-up for 10 years. Dean, you're going to have to prove a little bit of it. Tell me one or two traveller jokes.
I don't have to prove myself to
Tell me one or two
you.
traveller jokes. We can edit it anyway, so...
I don't know if I said these before on the podcast.
If they don't suit me, they're getting edited.
I don't know if I said these before on the podcast. But they're just like cheap traveller jokes. What's a traveller's favourite key?
They're not jokes. They're not jokes.
They're one-liner jokes. What's...
Yeah, but you're going to have to tell about 20 one-liners to make one good joke.
Yeah, right. Have you got any good traveller jokes?
Oh, you have me in stitches, Dean. I'm laughing here.
Have you got any good jokes, traveller jokes?
No, you're the man that's supposed to have, not me. What?
What's a traveller's favourite bar?
Don't know.
A crow bar. Hey.
Don't like it.
Oh, is that your dope accent, is it? Yeah, I missed that. Here, try and do my accent.
Go on, do it.
No, you do it.
Leave it out, so will you?
No, here.
Was that a bit travellerish? It was.
No, you're trying to be towny and common.
See, that's the only word I know. That's the only word I can slag you with. But I'm going to find lots of other stuff to slag you about. But in your accent or your language, whatever you want to call it, yeah, that's the only little word I know.
Take your time, hurry up. You've been bleeding 14 podcasts.
No, do you remember we said this before about a ventriloquist, is it?
Yeah, you said a transventriloquist.
Dean, you said transventriloquist. I said ventriloquist. Is it ventriloquist? Is it?
A Venn diagram.
I keep getting lost with that word, yeah? So now I'm not a ventriloquist, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't, I can just about speak traveller language, never mind speak the settled Dublin man.
Have you ever put on a Dublin accent to like sell a car?
Loads of times, yeah.
Have you? Like when someone rings you up on the phone?
No, I'll tell you what happens, will I?
Yeah.
If
you might know this, but Martin is commonly known around Dublin as Del Boy. He sells cars morning, noon and night. Well, he was selling cars.
I get robbed all the time, I do.
But yeah, go on, give us a story about you using a Dublin accent.
If someone rings me about a car, yeah, and it's a Dublin voice, yeah, I'll try to talk back like he's like. So
I'm going to do it now, right? How are you? No, I'm ringing about that Ford Fiesta.
No, I can't do it now. You see,
Come on,
you put me on the spot.
You're getting stage fright.
What happens is, yeah, if someone rings me from, just say if a black guy rings me.
How would you know he's a black guy?
The sound of his voice, genuine.
How would you know the colour of his skin from the sound of his voice?
Dean, come on, are you that stupid that you can't tell if a person is from?
You were trying to say I would know a traveller from the sound of his voice.
Yes, you would.
I wouldn't.
You said before you would.
Fucking right, I would.
Now you're telling lies. Go back to podcast 11 with Shawnee, yeah?
I'm trying to catch you
out. And you said you'd know what traveller by the sound of his voice. I got you now on there, Deanie boy.
So you know the black man by the sound of his voice. How does the black man sound?
I think you fell for that one.
How does the black man sound?
A heavy, rough voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But now don't... I'm not dissing the black man as a fellow.
No, I get it. I think everyone knows.
If someone rings me and I feel they're... what would you call it? Say Nigerian, not like Pakistan or from certain Eastern Europe, is it?
Yeah, okay, like Romanian.
You're Romanian, yeah. I can almost guess because what I'll do is this is how it is first, right? If the phone rings, yeah, I'll just listen.
Yeah.
So I'm listening now and trying to work out where this voice is coming from, kind of who's.
Is it an African voice,
where
an American
the accent
voice,
is coming from? Yeah,
South Dublin voice.
So then I've often tried to imitate, yeah. Not that I need to do it.
Would you imitate, like, remember the Lithuanian fellas?
Yeah.
And you thought they were travellers?
Them. Yeah, I told you that story, didn't I?
That was a good story. But would you imitate...
the opposite way around.
Would you imitate an Eastern European?
That was the opposite way around. I genuinely did think they were travellers.
Would you imitate an Eastern European fella?
I try, yeah.
Martin, I'm ringing about the Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. I mean, when I'm in good form, in good humour, I'd sort of imitate them a little bit. But I think anyone can do that.
But they find offence to that.
No, not really. No, because what you're doing is you're bringing yourself to their level to a better understanding of the accent.
Yeah, but Tommy Tiernan done a joke where he used the traveller accent and the traveller lads got all offended.
In what way? Why?
Because he was talking like a traveller and they were like, we don't talk like that, Tommy.
Oh, where did this happen?
I think that happened in Tommy's head, probably.
Tommy Tiernan, yeah, he's okay. He's a good comedian, we all know that.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, if you have travellers that are not up for these jokes, like what I'm saying
if you've got anybody who's not up for the jokes, they're not up for the jokes.
They can't get offended.
It doesn't have to be travellers.
Yes.
Back to offence. Get your knickers out of a twist and relax. Nobody's poking fingers at you, pointing out all your weaknesses. We're having the bleeding crack.
Yes, that's
and
right.
if you can't have the crack, nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's losing their life over it. It's a couple of jokes.
Well, let's put it this way: it's about having a sense of humour.
Having a sense of humour.
So prepare if you're a traveller and you go to a comedy show and there's only about 100 people at it, and you know this guy on the stage is going to slag everybody. Chances are he might point a finger at you
It's
and
a
slag
privilege
you.
that you're getting fucking slagged.
So you better be prepared for that. Like, be open to it.
If you're
And
going to a rodeo, expect to see a couple of bleeding
and just laugh it off.
cowboys on.
Don't do what Will Smith done. Don't go up and beat him on the stage. Don't
Pump
fight
the
him on the
head off you,
stage.
man.
Just laugh it off. Have a sense of humour. Like if you were slagging me about travellers now when you were here and then, say anything you want, of course I'm going to laugh it
It's
off.
like going to a bleeding horror movie and get given out when you got scared. When you got
that's right.
frightened. Isn't it? That's basically what it is. I'm only into sussing that out.
Oh, that's a good way to
That's a
describe
fucking
it.
great
yeah.
way of looking at it. It's like going to a horror movie and giving out that someone fucking scared. Ooh.
Yeah. But that's a good way
Oh
to
my
describe
god, I didn't
it.
like getting scared. I don't
Think
know why
about
I'm
it
using
is,
that
as long
voice.
as the comedian is having a sense of humour too, that he's not kind of picking on one person here. If you know what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, you can.
Then there can be offence taken there, and I'd imagine you wouldn't have to be a traveller. You could be anybody.
Yeah, it's like a musician singing shite songs. Stop singing shite songs.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Do
Like,
good bleeding jokes.
If you're at a comedy show now and you're sitting on the front row, and every now and again he's pointing the finger down at you,
yeah.
and he can't seem to find a joke about anybody else, I think something like that might offend somebody.
Or if you're watching a film and the accents are shite, like we talked about with Richie, you know what I mean? You're watching an Irish film and you have these bleeding shite Irish accents in it.
Yeah.
You're going to go, this is shite.
Yeah, it's rubbish. Yeah, absolutely.
This is rubbish.
Bad imitation.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be down to.
So
wouldn't
maybe it's about quality.
Well, I guess everything has to be about quality, hasn't it?
Quality control.
The quality of a joke.
The quality of a joke. Who determines the quality
They
of a
reckon,
joke?
they reckon the listener. The listener.
Yeah. If it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, but if it's not funny, then you don't laugh. Then it's not funny. But now again, coming back to yourself
Get
as well.
the balance. Have
But
the sense of
everybody
humour.
can't be wrong. If there's a guy telling jokes on a what do you call it there on a stage, and nobody's laughing, somebody needs to make a phone call to get
There's
him out
an
there.
interesting question. How many people have to be offended for the joke not to be funny?
How many people?
Have to be offended
It's
for the joke not to be funny.
It's a good question, but
Let's say there's 1,000 people in the audience and one
Yes.
person gets offended and everybody else laughs.
then it's funny.
you know
It
what I
has to
mean?
be funny.
Has to be funny.
That one
Let's say
person.
you have 1,000 people in the audience and 50 people get offended.
But the thing about it is that question can be answered in a different way.
Yeah,
What if the joke is about that one person that doesn't laugh?
yeah.
What if it's an offensive joke?
Yeah. What if they're the target of the joke and they're the ones who aren't laughing?
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
So then it doesn't mean because everyone else is laughing that one person mightn't see the funny side of it because it's about them.
Yeah. So what do we do? We
I
tell them
think-
to lighten up and get a sense
I
of humour.
think stuff like that can cause problems. But look, the comedian is there. He's there to laugh. He's going to make a laugh of anything that comes to his head.
But just like I said, if you're going to a horror movie, expect to have the
Yeah,
fucking
expect to get a
shite
fright.
frightened out of you.
Exactly, that's right.
You know, if you're going to a comedy show, if you're going to bleeding Led Zeppelin, if you're going to fucking a water park, you're going to get wet.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to a water park and you're not going to get wet, stop going to fucking water parks.
if you're going to a concert, you're going to sing along.
If you're going to a Chinese restaurant,
If you
you're
don't
going
sing
to eat
along-
bleeding rice.
And if you don't sing along, go home because no sense in being there.
If you go to a concert and you don't sing along, I love that one.
You have about 5,000 people all around you enjoying this song and singing at the top of their hearts, yeah? And you're just standing there.
Arms folded.
What the heck? What am I doing here in the first place? And probably somebody nudging you on the shoulder. You're not better off at home. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to go home.
Touch on.
But that was the crack with that one anyway. But yeah, we seem to have, let's say, we seem to drag everything out of them few little words there.
Yeah, that was deadly. And it led us on to that little bit at the end, which is about lighten up, have a sense of humour, see the world from other people's perspectives, stop being so hard on yourself, forgive people, love, all of that type of shit. It's
So
about
don't
finding the
forget, yeah,
balance.
that's one more thing as well, right? We can't be all perfect and all jolly and happy and in great mood all the time. But if we could just like sort of think to ourselves here, right? People are having a good time here. I'm the miserable one here. I'm not in the kind of form that they're in, and maybe there's something, just say, troubling you, bothering you, or it's too much on your mind. You could be tired or exhausted or wanting another. But that kind of stuff drags other people down around you. It's not just you. You can be affecting other people around you without even realising
You're like a
it.
bleeding misery magnet.
So now people are thinking, gee, what's going on with this chap here? What's going on with this
guy?
guy?
And they feel guilty for having a good time.
Do you know what I mean? So now you're, in a sense, until you come around to yourself and get in good form again, you're creating a bad atmosphere without realising, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what would you do?
I like an atmosphere. I love a little party with an atmosphere. Russ Abbott, 1979.
Dean, what do I tell you?
Sorry.
Stick to the day job. Leave the singing to the singers. And another thing as well, leave the comedy stand-up to the comedies, to the comedians, will you?
Episode 15.
Episode, what is it? 15.
I think this is 15.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Scurry, he did come back in. He left the building an hour ago. He came back in again. But now he is
Ladies and gentlemen,
officially...
welcome back to the stage for one night only,
has
Mr. Dean Scurry.
He has officially left the building.
Episode 15. Thanks very much. We'll have a guest on next week. Talk to you soon. So that's us for this episode, Traveller and a Countryman podcast. If you like it, let us know, share it around, and we'll see you on the road.